I have never seen anyone with such a depth analysis of the Hebrew people, the real Israelite, like this woman. I want us to listen to her and some of the narratives that has gone for too many years was debunked by this woman. And I want us to listen because I have a lot to say. Credit belongs to this lady. TikTok account is there. I think she call herself the Gentile, Gentile speaking or so. Our account is there. Listen to her and the other, materials I have for you. Just check them. Check their handle. You can go watch them. They have beautiful resources that you need to hear and listen to, and credit belongs to them. Let's go watch them. I'll be right back.
A Gentile's
when we think about
confession.
the Messiah and we think about the books that he had the scrolls that made up, he had the Torah and the prophets. And of course, the teaching of the time was, if you teach against the Torah and the prophets, there's no light in you. So the Torah and the prophets were everything to the Messiah and his followers. And of that work, I think that Deuteronomy 28 in particular, that chapter 28, is one of the most underestimated, misunderstood chapters in the book, because when you know just that chapter, the whole word comes to life, and the history that we see, the prophecy that we see that has been fulfilled in recent history and is being fulfilled right now. So let's just talk about what we're taught. So many people are taught that the so-called black people in the Americas are simply Africans who were randomly captured and sold into slavery. But when we search the scriptures and the historical record together, a different picture emerges. One that reveals that these people were not just Africans, but exiled Israelites fulfilling the curses of the law. So let's take it back to 70 AD. What was 70 AD? So 70 AD was roughly 37 years after our 33-year-old Messiah was lynched on a tree and resurrected. So the Messiah was crucified, died, lynched, and resurrected, and approximately 37 years later, the Roman armies destroyed Jerusalem and scattered the children of Israel that were there. Now, the children of Israel that were there were the tribe of Judah. They were known as Judah. There were Benjamites there, and there were Levites there, and the southern kingdom was made up of Judah and those people. The northern kingdoms, remember, fell about 750 years prior to his birth. So we're, almost, there's, 900 years between the scattering of the northern kingdom and the scattering of the southern kingdom. And I want to apologize now because I know people are going to talk in the comments. I don't know much about the tribes of the northern kingdom. I'm going to dig into that. But right now, I'm just really trying to learn how to live a righteous life and try to build something of substance for a good life here. So I don't know much about the northern kingdom and where they ended up. But we're talking about the tribe of Judah specifically and their trip to America. How did America take God's chosen? And how do we know it's America? How do we know America's Babylon? When the Roman armies took the city of Jerusalem and the Israelites were forced to flee, some were taken into captivity and many fled into Africa. Over generations, these Israelites migrated through Northeast Africa and into West Africa. This migration is documented by the impact of their culture. What does that mean? Their language, tribes that are called by Hebrew names, Levitical priestly traditions that were taught and picked up and now practiced still to this day. We know that they were living there and that they carried their Israelite laws and customs with them. We find Hebrew customs and Levitical priestly traditions and Israelite names among the West African tribes. These were not strangers to the Bible. They were actually the living descendants of it. But the Bible warned that exile would not end in Africa. In Jeremiah 16:14-15, we read, "It shall no more be said, the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north." So something bigger than a 400-year captivity of Israelites in Egypt is going to happen. And we're not going to talk about what happened in Egypt anymore. We'll be talking about the Lord bringing his chosen out of Mystery Babylon. The land of the north that is mentioned in this piece of scripture, where it says that we won't talk about what happened in Egypt, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. The land of the north is not Africa, it is North America. Scripture shifts the focus from Egypt to the new captivity that will be greater than the captivity seen in Egypt. This leads us to the transatlantic slave trade. From 1500s to 1800s, millions of Israelites mislabeled as Africans were kidnapped from West Africa and brought into the Americas in chains. This was not random human cruelty. It was the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28:68, which says Israel would be taken by ships into a land they did not know, and they would be sold as slaves, and no man would save them. No other people in human history fit the prophecy the way Black, Latino, and Native descendants of Americans do. The people that were dispersed among North America, South America, and the Caribbean. America is not just any land. According to Scripture, there's a mysterious Babylon, and it's spoken about in Revelation 17 and 18. A powerful nation. This mystery Babylon will be a powerful nation built on stolen labor, stolen wealth, and blood. Now, for those of you who know my Facebook, I am constantly demonstrating things that highlight curses. And my thing is, this is America, lowercase a, blood, white, and blue. It's not red, white, and blue. It's blood, white, and blue. So we're talking about a powerful nation built on stolen labor with stolen wealth and on blood.
This is a map of Africa from the 1700s, and you can see what it's called down here, Negro land. Okay, because what happened was the Israelites would escaped into Africa, the African continent, but the Africans didn't want them there amongst themselves, because I guess they still remembered the plagues and the Exodus. So the Israelites basically went across the top of the Sahara, which you'll notice is called the Kingdom of Sahara, okay, which is the second son of Judah, by the way. So they went across the Sahara Desert and down into the wilderness, which is where nobody was living, of West and South Africa. So here's a bit more detail here. So this bit here is called the Grain Coast. It's where the Europeans came in to get their grain. Here's the Tooth Coast. It's where they came in to get their ivory. There's the Gold Coast. No explanation there. And here is the Slave Coast, and where it says there, Kingdom of Judah. So they're the sons of Judah actually ended up there. Here next to it is what's called Benin. I can't see it, but the Kingdom of Benin is here. Now the people who lived in Jerusalem, that side of the part of Jerusalem that got attacked by the Romans, were the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, or Benjamin. So here you have the Judeans and the Benjamites. And right now, the Jews are still there. The ones that weren't taken into slavery are actually still there. These there are a couple of, quite a load of tribes out there. The Lemba, these guys are from the Lemba, have been acknowledged now as people of that area, the Judea. There's another tribe of interest called the Igbo, or the Ibo, which we'll come back to later. So when the Europeans came to get slaves, not a single African went into slavery. What happened was the slavers came for the Judeans, the Negroes, and it was the Africans who actually sold them into slavery. It was the Arabs and the Africans who sold them into slavery. Right? They didn't sell themselves into slavery. It was the Africans were selling the outsiders, the ones who came in and were actually prospering in the wilderness of their land. So that dispels that myth that Africans were selling each other into slavery. Again, it's not about skin colour, it's about nation, it's about bloodline. So this is commonly seen as the African slave trade, but there was more, much more to this story. Because the Aboriginal Americans were the same people. They were already there in America, and they were black people. They were not the pale-skinned Indians that you're kind of used to. These were the same people that were over in Africa and also in Europe. We'll get to that in a minute. But what happened was we had black people as the Aboriginal Americans, but there were also some Chinese Mongols who went across the Bering Strait and were inhabiting the northwest of America. And it was those people who actually were given all the reservations. All these people were reclassified as black people, as Negroes, as slaves. The Aboriginal Americans were reclassified as black, Negro, and slaves. And the Native Americans were the Chinese Mongols, who mixed also with white people who came over, because there was a thing called the Dawes Rolls, which meant they were classifying who was who, and anybody could come along, any white European could come along and say and paid $5 to be included as an Indian. So this is one of the journeys of the people from the what's known as the Holy Land, from Israel right now. These are the people called the Iba. Again, very similar to the Ibo and the Igbo tribes in Africa, because Iba comes from the patriarch Eba, who was where the name Hebrew comes from. Okay, so the Iba travelled across southern Europe and ended up in a place they named after themselves, the Iberian Peninsula. And when they were chased out of that area by the barbarians, they founded another country called Hibernia. Again, they named it after themselves. Hibernia means land of the Hebrews. And some of them went on to colonise another country, Scotland. And the only name that survives is Hebrides. Okay. So the Irish were originally black people, and this is an illustration from a magazine, Harper's Weekly, from the 1800s, and it actually tells you in there, if I'd left the whole thing, it says the Iberians were believed to originally be an African race, okay, and you can see how the Irish Iberians started off like this, mixed with these, and became, this was kind of a sort of midway transitional stage. But if you look at the Iberian writing of the time, it's almost exactly the same as the Paleo-Hebrew script, saying that these guys came from Jerusalem, basically.
Here is another map of West Africa. And like yesterday, this map highlights a region called Negroland. There was an area called the Slave Coast that I've highlighted here, and it was called the Slave Coast because that's where most of the slaves were taken. It's also called the Kingdom of Judah. This is where most of the tribe of Judah settled after fleeing Jerusalem when it was sieged by Rome in 70 AD. A majority of the slaves were Israelites from the tribe of Judah.
I have done video about the tribe of Judah, which was in the region of West Africa, the Negro land, and there's another name they give them, the tribe of Judah. And some of these content creators did wonderful job that I agree so much with, about this narrative that some are saying that black Americans, they were sold blah blah by Africans, they are this and that. But we now know clearly that the black people, black Americans, were actually pursued by Roman Empire, because they are the tribe, the other part of the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah, children of Israel was divided into two kingdoms, right? The northern part, the southern part. So the tribe of Judah consists of the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, the Levi, and the other part was, and this lady was fair enough to say that she can't really remember, she can't talk about the southern part, but this tribe she talked about, and she said they were actually driven by the Roman Empire out of the land where they were in towards Africa. So the narrative is that people are saying they are in Africa, the land of Africa, blah blah. And she was saying that this northern part happened to be the northern part of America. See, the continents or the map you're seeing today, whereby you see a lot of continents, is just the work of the colonial master. That's what they did. Before lands were divided and given names and region, it used to be one place where you can just trek or walk through from one continent to the other. Just like what you see today about the Middle East. Middle East is part of Africa. Middle East, let me say it again, is part of Africa. It was called Arabia, but now it's just sort of stuff there. because they began to divide and name us sort of, you know, Arabia used to be Africa, part of African map. But let me just leave that. That's a digression. So the people that were pursued out of their land into the region of West Africa were black people, and truly they are not Africa. Okay, one could say, oh, because they are black, they're African, and that is why a lot of people were saying that, oh, Africa sold their fellow brother and all that. See, what happened is that when the tribe of Judah were in the region of West Africa, they prospered on that land, and the blacks that were among the owners of the land were like, who are this set of people? They are prospering and all that. And that was where it looks like there was a connivance with the colonial, people to smoke them out. And that is why this story about some part of Africa are Hebrew, they are Israelites, is not a lie. It is not a lie. Some regions, some people in Africa that were actually, maybe sojourners, or they found themselves because some of the land were given to them as a promise before the transatlantic, before all of those things that happened. They found themselves in those places because it was a promised land, the land that was flowing with milk and honey. And when all of those things happened, they began to they fled. And that is why I'm agreeing with this woman's analogy about the Hebrew people that were in the region of West Africa. And that's why there's a back and forth. Oh, Nigerian people, the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Benin, blah, blah, are they true? I'm not here to talk about that, but I'm just here to review the history that has been whitewashed. They've told us all sort of things. Oh, black Africans sold their people, blah, 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 blah. I'm here to debunk that by what you just watched. And of course, you're free to your opinion, your views and perception. I wanted to share with me at the comment section. But it is beautiful that the truth is unfolding about the real Israelite. A lot of people are coming out to share with us, to give us views and perceptions and about, what really went down. And with so much research that is available online, one has to be careful to know which one to believe. But if you are really desirous, if you are curious, there are facts everywhere, and you can just oppose with the lies that has been told. That's been the whitewashed, narrative. Anyway, guys, my time is up. I have to go. Credit belongs to the original creator of every content that I use today. And of course, if today is your first time, subscribe, like, and share this great content. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers. About 40% of you guys joined this time, and I'm grateful for you guys. And my old subscribers, 60% of you guys have been around, and I'm going to say thank you for being part of this channel. Join my membership and subscribe. Buy me coffee. You can give me super thanks just to appreciate us and make our research even more easy. Thank you, and bye for now.